and welcome to Well Conceived Business. Today's episode might sound a little bit different to our usual episode because it's actually a copy of a Facebook Live that I have just run in our free Facebook group. If you would like to join our free Facebook group where I drop in live fairly regularly, just come and send me a message on Instagram at Robyn Birkin. I will give you the link and we would love to welcome you in there. And also you'll notice that the doors to Launch Easy Life are still open. They are just about to close shut. So if you would like to join the program, then do make sure that you reach out, check the show notes, do whatever you need to do. Because if you have Create Online Course Signature Program on your to-do list for 2023, time is running out. And especially if you want it to be on the cards for 2024, now is the chance to jump into the program. To find out all about the program, you can touch base with me on Instagram, or you can visit launcheasylife.com/course to find out all the details. All right, now to dive into our Facebook Live. So if you are not already subscribed to Well Conceived Business, highly encourage you to. We have some really snappable episodes, such as how to get more discovery calls, how to get more leads, how to discovery call tips that no one's talking about. All of the juice is shared on Well Conceived Business, and we're going to share this episode. Now, also, I'm going to be going live 2 more times in the next couple of days to talk about a few other topics. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is why there has never been a better time to create and launch your online course. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is online course do's and don'ts. Some of the things you do and don't want to focus on when you're creating your signature online course. So if you want to be part of those, make sure you're checking into the group, finding out when those are. They're going to be early next week, and we would love to have you there. If you are watching the replay, and I know that the majority of you are going to be watching the replay here, calling you out, please be a human being. So one of the reasons why we have Facebook groups is so that we can have this two-way kind of conversation. So if you have any questions as we go, if you're like, tell me more about this, explain this, whatever it is, want to hear from you. If all you do right now, if you're here live or if you're watching the replay, is say hello in the comments below, I would so appreciate it. And that makes me feel like I'm not talking into the abyss. Now, I'm jumping in to check, yep, we're live on Facebook, fab, all working great. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what is working in 2023, what is going to work, the trends and the things that I'm seeing in the industry as someone who has this beautiful backstage pass to so many businesses and what's going on, what's working, as well as what's not working. So if you've been coasting along, things are fine, and you've seen a bit of a decline in business, or you feel like, you're doing things, it's not taking off, here's a few points to consider in relation to what's working and what's not working, because the market has 100% changed. So anyone who has noticed this, come drop it in the chat below and be like, yep, it's changed. Biggest thing that I would say, however, and lots of people are like, it's a recession, it's interest rates rising, it's inflation and things like that, and people aren't buying. And I do not buy it. I don't accept that anywhere, because everywhere I look, there is evidence that people are growing exponentially, having great program and product launches despite what is happening in the economy. So I see this as a beautiful kind of call to arms for us all to do a little bit better. If things were working before and they're not now, it's this beautiful opportunity to pivot. And I've been in marketing and sales for more than 20 years. I have marketed and had sales through the global financial crisis for all different seasons in business. And I can definitely tell you that what we do doesn't work forever. So we've got to be constantly pivoting and evolving and shifting and changing in line with our clients, in line with the world, in line with consumer psychology and behavior. And that is something that is fluid. It is not something that is once and done, but that doesn't mean it's a lot more work. It just means that we can be reflective and innovative in what we do. So let's start talking a little bit about how the market has shifted. And before I do that, if you're like, well, the market has definitely shifted, everyone just wants lower prices, 100% that's not the case either. Recessions make the most millionaires, and the online course industry is predicted to hit something like $308 billion by 2030. It is a really big increasing industry. So if we're looking at online course trends, what's going to work for 2024, if we just expand that a little bit, and this is part of what I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of days, it's my firm opinion that actually the safe bet of what you do and create in your business during uncertain economic times is something that leverages your time a bit more, gives you more time to invest in things like growing your audience more, nurturing your audience more, and that's what we're going to talk about, such as an online course. So if you don't even have an online course, honestly, I think that now is the best time to do that. So here's why things that might have been working aren't working now, and here's what to do instead, and my predictions and trends for 2024. So one of the things I am seeing is, particularly with what we were doing before, is that there was this real opportunity to say, hey, I've got a thing, who's interested? And people would just buy. One of the things I also used to see is people would get swept up a lot in momentum. Momentum is 100% super important in your business. It's so important that we have that. It's so important that we are showing up for our audience, but people no longer buy just from momentum, although it is a really important part. So when we are selling things, a lot of the time people will sell on momentum, people will get swept up in momentum. And if that's what you were doing and that's what you were doing alone, that may not be working anymore. People need lots of information. They need to really consider what they're purchasing. So people are still buying. People are buying loads of stuff. It's just that they're being a little bit more discerning with what they're buying. And one of the things that we're seeing in the market is a bigger shift to people who are purchasing at the end of a cart open period. They're not necessarily buying from momentum alone. They're buying because they've needed time to sit and process whether or not your program was worth it. So I'm seeing loads of people who will get to the front end of their cart open, be like, oh my God, this isn't selling the way it used to, and stop, fall off the wagon, be like, oh, this is not working. What am I doing wrong? It's not working the way it used to. No. It may not be that it's not working. It's that people are absorbing the information and just needing all of that information in order to make a purchase. So you don't ramp down during the end of a launch. You always ramp up. And it's not because of the momentum for the end of cart. It's because people are having longer purchasing cycles and want to be really discerning with the things that they're buying. People want to know, like, is this really a good investment for me? Is this right for me? They want to buy, they just don't want to buy crap, right? They don't want to buy stuff that they're never going to look at again. They want to know that they're going to get in and get a really good experience. So looking at how am I doing that? And so Launch Easy Life, we've got the doors open at the moment. And this is my program to help you create, launch, and deliver a program that's exceptional on all levels. And so when I say exceptional on all levels, yes, I 100% mean like doing a proper launch, right? Launching the right way, but I also mean delivering the right way, trying to look back and continually improve and refine your online course experience so that people are moving through the content and getting the results that they want. How can we look at that experience and deliver well, right? So that's one of the things that we really focus on. People do not want to join your programs and then just that's it. They don't want to never hear from you again. And what happens is when they get in that experience, so number one, you need to show that you are delivering that before they buy. But when people finish your program, so a lot of people who are highly regulated, so thinking dietitians, for example, they're like, I can't get testimonials. So, but that doesn't mean people still aren't talking about you. That doesn't mean that people still aren't referring other people to you outside of you knowing it. That doesn't mean they're not going to become repeat purchasers. That doesn't mean that they're not going to, of their own volition, talk to you. They're probably going to talk about you either way, but they are like, still, people are always going to talk about you, right? They're always going to remember you. They're always going to have a taste in their mouth about what the experience of working with you was like. And often the experience that we want for someone, even including within a signature program, Do you need to have lots of different programs? No, but you can have really elegant upsells, upgrades, etc. within your program, or maybe you have an ascension ladder that leads to a premium one-on-one experience. The goal is always to either increase clients or increase the lifetime value of the people who we work with. So looking at how are we delivering that? And there's been so many people over the last couple of years who've been burnt by stuff like that. So really looking at, am I providing all of the information that I need to provide? Am I really thoroughly going through that launch process with people so that they have all of the information that they need in order to make an informed buying decision, and really looking at your launch and what that execution process looks like. The next thing that people need is trust, right? There is a huge shift at the moment in the market to people who need more trust in order to make a purchasing decision. So what does that look like? That looks like them being able to know that you are worth your salt before they invest. So really taking a moment to check in with, how are you showing up, right? So when we look at 2024 course trends, the people who are going to win are the people who, number one, show up, number two, who show up consistently, and who show up with enough content that people feel a little bit like they can try before they buy. So once you have an established course, program, etc., you may look at what I call feeder funnels, but you, by and large, a lot of that is going to be, what do you have in terms of experience, education, and value that people can consume so that they can build trust in you as the expert to solve the problems that they have, right? So we look in Launch Easy Life at, what does that pre-launch look like? And then again, if you are doing one-to-one services and you are so thin on time that you don't have the capacity to show up regularly through social media, through long form content like podcasts, blogs, or a YouTube channel, then people aren't going to be able to develop that trust in you. If you are doing those things and it's sporadic, again, because maybe you are snowed under with one-to-one services, then that's where you might be doing a disservice to both yourself and your audience. So the people who are going to win are the people who respect and honor that there is a longer purchasing cycle and a longer funnel to convert. So this is where, again, what we also want to do within our funnels, within our online courses, is know that it comes back to sometimes frequent little launches rather than big once a year launches. So what we teach within the Launch Easy Life program is not necessarily bigger than Ben-Hur launches. That's one opportunity. That's one piece of the pie, right? If people have a longer buying cycle, how can we break those launches up? And that a launch is not just a 7-day doors open experience, right? So if that's how you are launching, this is probably why you are not selling. A launch is a longer launch cycle that involves a robust pre-launch period, a breakthrough build-up, a breakthrough conversion event, and then inviting people to join your program through a cart open experience. If there's no pre-launch, if you're used to just showing up one day and being like, hey, or like a week before, hey, my thing's open, join it, then that's where you're going to start seeing sales really decline. We need to understand and honor that we need to nurture people through potentially several cart opens in order to build that level of awareness about what's going on, what they need, how you can help, and that awareness of the program that you have. So what we do is we kind of work in like 90-day cycles of launches. We incorporate lots of rinse and repeat elements in our launch so that we can communicate the message in different ways multiple times without requiring a lot of us. But what that also looks like is, how are you being consistent through things like your social media, your long form content? So you're welcome to Google the Google 7-4-11 philosophy. Google did a study, I've talked about it on the podcast before, that says that people need to be able to consume about 7 hours worth of content from you across 11 different pieces of content. So that might be 11 podcasts, 11 Instagram posts, but is there 7 hours worth of content that you have for people to consume across 11 pieces of content and also across about 4 different channels, right? So 100% start with one, but you need to then look at how do I add on others that are strategic within my business, right? So that people have that breadth to be able to ascertain whether you are someone that they trust, whether you are someone that has authority within your space. And a lot of that is going to be done during your pre-launch cycle and how you nurture people through your email list, your social media, whether you're doing that consistently or not. So you want to be able to launch well. I highly recommend frequent, smaller launches for people so they can go through multiple launch cycles and helping people kind of like try before they buy. What does your nurturing look like for people? How are you showing up for them? Are you showing up regularly? And are you building authority? So one of the best things for building authority, in my opinion, is a signature program. So by signature program, you can dip and dive and hybrid it however you like. It can have a bit of one-to-one in, depending on what the next step in your funnel looks like. If you have a big one-to-one package that you love and you want to continue, maybe you won't include some one-to-one elements within that, but you can have one-to-one elements, live calls, live Q&As, worksheets, pre-recorded videos, whatever that looks like. You get to package that up in how it best serves you as a business owner. What free time do you want? What works best for you in terms of your calendar? And do you want to be locked into that? Do you enjoy one-to-one? All of that, right? You get to package your signature program in whatever way feels really good to you. And that's sort of what we teach. But making sure that you're an authority in the field and you've really articulated the transformation that you support people with in your business, becoming the authority in that. So one of the things I find that's best for that is this signature program. What happens when you have a signature program? You've outlined that offer really well. It solidifies you. And then what that then does is help you form the best picture for what your content should look like throughout your funnel. The signature program and the launch framework that you have is what supports you in the content that you provide on social media to deliver to people, your Cloud9 clients, the information that they need along the way to be nurtured, to see you as an authority. And what happens when you're producing the right content is not only that when you open the cart, people are far more likely to convert and buy, but what happens is you've solidified your expertise within that industry. You no longer become like the broad everything person, like the doctor that does knee replacements at the same time as delivers babies. You are like the top neurosurgeon for people who have sports-related brain injuries. And people are like, who's the best neurosurgeon for this, right? It's like you. That's you in your field. Then what happens is, number one, if you've created an online course, you get all this time to then build authority, to build that 7-11 for Google content, but you also get to really solidify that. You start receiving invitations to the summits, invitations to the podcasts, because you're the expert in that field. So I hope that really helps when we're talking about the trends and what works. So just to recap, trends, what I see working a lot more in 2024. Number one, more frequent launches, mini launches, but more frequent launches. Number two, online courses and signature programs and people with simpler funnels. Like it's really simple to work with me. It's really simple. It's not a kitchen sink thing and it's not lots of little offers. I think lots of little offers can be fab for nurturing people into the signature program, right? But in a strategic way, giving people that real opportunity to trust you and know that you're worth your salt. People want to do the research before they buy. So what does your nurturing look like? What does your year-round content strategy look like? And is that strategic in terms of, like pre-launch and moving people through what I call like problem awareness, zero to heroes journey? and really making sure that no one's getting left behind in your program. People have been burnt. People are very used to online courses at the moment, online learning. They want the convenience of being able to do things in their own time. They want the convenience of, being able to dip and dive and access things as they want. They want to do things on their terms. So how are we offering that? And so looking at your funnel and making sure people are completing the content, that you are delivering well and really providing a first-class experience in your program, and not just being like, yep, they've bought, that's that, right? It doesn't end there. It ends with delivery. So if you have any other questions, you can drop them in the comments below. If you are watching the replay, stop lurking, say hello below. And if anyone has any questions, I'm going to be here. I'll be circling back, so drop them in the comments below. Feel free to also drop any of your own reflections or anything that you've found, and make sure you're listening to the Well Conceived Business podcast and listening to our 2 other lives that are coming in the next couple of days in this group. So lovely chatting to you, and I will speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye for now.